Hey, Crystal Maiden here, and welcome to part 24 of Wind Waker. It was kind of pointless to me to pick up Macro there, because again, you can't take them into the boss rooms. It's just a force of habit of mine, because you have to take the partners with you wherever you go. And a lot of the time you have to pick them up to go into another room. Like, you can't just press the call button and have them automatically follow you to the next room. Like, if you go into a room and you're not holding them, then you'll go back to that room and they'll be there. Like, I think they'll be waiting for you in front of, like, the entrance to that room. Or maybe it was the door you just came out of. I seem to remember that happening in the Earth Temple. So, this is Nogueira. This is a pretty cool idea, but it's terrible in execution. You see, it would be fine if it weren't for two things. One, the schizophrenic range of the hookshot. You saw earlier that I was able to grab onto a pea hat that was pretty far from me just fine. And here, look, that's an absurdly long range. You saw from that sort of 2D perspective that the hookshot grabbed onto it from pretty far away. But sometimes the hookshot doesn't like to cooperate. And these enemies, that's another huge problem with this boss fight. It seems like the biggest challenge of this boss fight is a terribly designed targeting system. Shouldn't the boss be of a higher priority? And even going into manual first-person aiming mode doesn't help, because it's still, like, you still have the enemies in front of you and you target them. Even speedrunners think it's best to just kill all of the enemies so that they don't intervene. This is actually one of the most broken bosses in the game, if not the most broken. And the reason cited for this is that you can actually hookshot Nogueira while he's flying in the sky. I guess that's a glitch then. So, like, while he's just about to go into the ground, you can hookshot him from there and attack him. And it looks pretty cool. In the Japanese and PAL version of the game, if you do that to him as the final hit, then the game will crash because of all the lag. That doesn't happen in the US version though. But look, why did it not reach it that time? And I keep trying to do the spin attack and nothing but it's like every time that you attack when you're L targeting an enemy, you automatically do the weak attack first, even if you're rotating the analog stick. And it's like, you want to equip the sword when you use the hookshot. So that means that after you use the hookshot, you're automatically going to use the weak attack first, the instant you try to use the sword again. So if that weak attack connects, then you're going to be forced into a combo rather than being able to, like, see, I did not want to do that. I wanted to do that. I love the theme of this boss though. Like the flute music. It really does suck that the HD version mangled its music so much. Like, I was so disappointed. It just completely sucked all the charm out of it. Like, there's no passion in the music at all. I think the synthesized music just sounds just fine. Like, I don't see why they had to go for the gigantic waste of money of making an orchestra. Well, it sure is convenient that defeating the boss allows this to happen. So I guess you need to be in a specific spot praying to the gods to actually power up the Master Sword? That seems pretty arbitrary. Like, why is this the only place you can do it? Why can't you just do it right away? Like, I know, because you have to go through the Earth Temple and the Wind Temple. But still, it just seems pretty arbitrary. So we're finally done with the temples. Now that we completely powered up the Master Sword without actually increasing its attack power. Now we can finally move on to the Triforce Quest. A very infamous part of the game, because a lot of people feel like it brings the pacing of the game to a screeching halt, because before, we were just going from dungeon to dungeon. And I don't think the pacing of the game is that fast, because you still have to do stuff between dungeons. Like, you still have to, like, especially at the beginning of the game, you had to sail directly to every island. There's no warp song. But, like, I don't know, like, the dungeons in this game aren't really that great to begin with. Like, the first two are alright, but the rest of them are just annoying. So, it's not really about the dungeons to me. Like, when I play this game, the thing I really look forward to is visiting every island and getting the satisfaction of completing a task. The reason that I love Zelda in the first place. By completing tasks on the island. Like, getting all the treasure. I mean, I don't actually use all the treasure charts for this playthrough. Like, I don't show off me getting the treasure for every island, but I visit every island at least. But I'm only going to be showing off the mandatory parts of the Triforce Quest in this. This isn't mandatory though. This is me just showing off that what the fish said about Forsaken Fortress was true. Like, he said that there were no enemies left here. And, well, technically, there are still bats. I don't know why that area is boarded off. Like, before you could just swim in there through a water entrance and just get to a lake area with a pirate ship hanging above it for some reason. Right there. But yeah, like, I would count geese and rats as enemies because they explode when you attack them and leave money behind, just like the rest of Ganon's enemies. And, like, I don't know, I count bats and rats as enemies in the game. But there's no moblins left, there's no bokoblins left, there's no mini-blins left. So, ultimately, the fish was right. Like, you don't even see torches lit up anymore. And, like, you can actually be at this place during the day. So, yeah. This basically means that Ganon withdrew his monsters from Forsaken Fortress. And, well, I guess because of the King of the Red Lion's concerns, we're supposed to believe that he brought them to Hyrule. But why didn't he do that earlier? And I don't know, like, I don't see the point of, like, it's not like he has a limited amount of monsters. Like there's billions of different monsters in the game, in the Great Sea alone. Why did he have to remove his monsters from the Forsaken Fortress? Like, was he trying to create the illusion that he wasn't a threat anymore? Because nobody's really buying it. This is the island where you get the ghost ship chart, which is mandatory for allowing you to enter the ghost ship, which allows you to get a Triforce chart. And right away you see that you need to have gotten the item for the Wind Temple to get up here. Like, there's no shore for you to dock on. Which is neat. It's good that you can actually make use of the hookshot after the dungeon where you used it. Like I said, there's more than enough blue choo-choos to go around, so it's not like you need to get every single one to unlock the blue potion. So that's good. Enemies don't always drop their spoils when you kill them, so that's why I think it's a good idea to steal from them, just to make absolutely sure that you get their spoil. You can't really steal reliably from the Dark Nuts though, because the grappling hook will aim for their head instead for some reason, even if their head is armored. So that won't really help you. Right here you got a pretty annoying warp pot maze. It's pure trial and error, which I don't think is really good game design. Like, you absolutely have to go to the warp jars and hope that they bring you to the right places and memorize which ones are wrong. There's also intimidating and, like, terrifying floor masters here, which will send you back to the entrance of this place. I don't really get how these ghost ships got here, because they're underneath the island. They're like in a cave underneath the island, inside of the island. How did ghost ships, like how did ships get inside of the island? Like, if they were sunken to the right of the island, then I'd understand. But it's not like we went into a submarine to get here. I don't know, it doesn't entirely make sense. Like, we're not at the bottom of the sea because Link isn't drowning. Yeah, this is pretty annoying. Like, you have no way of knowing which jar is the wrong one until you go into it. And look how close I am to that guy there. It's a good thing he didn't grab me instantly. I figure I might as well leave at least one chest animation in. Well, two. But yeah, this is mandatory to beat the game. It's not enough that you know where it is. Which I think is it's a pretty obvious example of padding. Much like the Triforce Quest in general. According to E.G. Aonuma, this game was set to release on a very strict release date and couldn't be delayed. This meant the game was so rushed that 2 dungeons were cut out. Inside Jabun, and a 3rd Sage Temple. That would've sucked. So the infamous Triforce Quest had to be put in as padding. They already admitted it, like the Triforce Quest is padding. They were going to put the cut dungeons in the HD version, but instead they wanted to stay true to the original. Again, I don't see, like, that is so redundant because we already have the original out. Why make another game that's just like it, except it's prettier looking? I don't get that. Like, it has a few gameplay improvements, but it could have been so much more. I would have bought it if it had more, like, new dungeons. Although, again, water dungeons are pretty infamous, and I hated both Sage Temples in this game, so if they really did add the cut dungeons, they probably would have sucked, so I don't know. But yeah, the Triforce Quest really is padded. I don't really care though, cause like, it's fun for me to play. I don't care that's not a dungeon. This is actually a really good way to grind for money, because these jars give you a huge amount of rupees, and you could just save and quit after getting the rupees from this. You could just save and quit, and then you'll respawn really close to the ghost ship, and so you can just sail right back into it and get rupee jars again, because the rupees, they'll respawn. So speedrunners will take advantage of this to grind for rupees for Triforce Quest. By the way, don't jump attack onto that chest. For some reason it crashes the game. That's actually happened to me. So that's creepy. Like, I could have sworn I remembered jumping attacking onto that chest actually causes the sound that plays when you open the chest early, and the game soft locks. Like, I guess the cue for the sound effect playing is spawned like early if you jump attack onto the chest. I don't know, it's weird. And this is why the seagull is mandatory. Cause you need it to hit the crystals, and it's inverted. Like, you have to hold down to go up. Who thought that was a good idea? I know people defend it in Star Fox, but that doesn't excuse it. Like, the only reason people defend inverted flight controls is because that was how they were done traditionally. Just because they were done that way by old games doesn't mean that it was done right. Up should be up and down should be down. It's not really that big of a deal once you adjust to it though. The real problem is how slippery the controls are. Like, you keep going in a direction we don't want to. The controls are not exactly tight. And like, he'll keep going up even though you don't want him to. See? The controls are so terrible, like I missed that switch. And now I'm just chased by these guys. And I have no way of defending myself. So I got attacked by that bird. And it's like, good luck actually attacking any of these birds. Like, if it was Twilight Princess, I would have been able to hit them from a distance easily. There's actually a way to skip using the seagull. Basically, what you do is that you aim the grappling hook while standing to the left of the cage, the bars that would be here in front of us, this hole. You stand there, and you look up at this. Right next to the left wall, you just do that, and you go back with the rope swinging, and you time pressing A just right. And doing that, you'll clip through the wall, and you'll jump through the wall into the hole. I've actually done that. It's kind of harder than it looks, though. But it's a pretty cool glitch that is easy to do. So technically, you don't need to use the seagull at all. So I recommend trying to do that glitch. After you do that glitch, you come out of the hole, and there's still bars in front of you, in front of that hole, blocking you from escaping. But you can just save and quit, and you'll respawn on your boat. And it's faster to save warp out here anyways, so... Not really getting that much money from this.